Okay, there we go. Welcome back. I had to check, make sure my microphone was on. We are live, and this is Anatomy and Physiology. I'm your professor, Dr. Sean Clavel, and we are past the quarter way mark, right? We are past week 4. We are in past the first 25% of the way there through this semester, and we are in week 5. We're getting past some of like the basic chemistry, cell biology, what we saw in the previous weeks 3 and 4. Now we are in like histology, kind of like the tissues that are specific to the human body. So, welcome. This is kind of my announcements and review for my online class. So, kind of pulling up my canvas for you guys. Here it is. Let's just throw that up on the screen. Go to Canvas, and again for my online class, and particularly there, we'll click on 007. Give you the student view. There's the announcements going live. Get into modules here. Modules where we'll be focusing in on. Oh, I'll fix this. Actually, we'll take a look at the syllabus. Let's see what we have scheduled for that exam. I think it'll be about 3 weeks. So the week of the right here. So the 27th is when it's going to be. The exam will open. So the exam will open for this one February 27th. I'll just kind of fix that real fast. And this will be an exam where they'll have 2 parts. So there'll be a 2-part exam, 2/27/225. Save. There we go. Okay. And so you'll see, like you can see here, I've got part of that exam already prepped up. I'll double review it, make sure it's got the material that I want in it. But there's 2 parts here now. You can see that there's going to be the traditional multiple choice answers, but there is also like a component that's called the practical. I'm opening up a writing device here as we talk as well. And so the idea that you're going to have a lot more pictures in these next exams. So imagine, you're going to see bones when we get to the skeletal system, and you'll be asking to identify different bone parts. In these next chapters, we're going to be looking at different tissues. We're close here. Okay. There we go. Okay. So there you go. This part right here, it says practical. That's going to be where we're talking about the different types of tissues. And so what we want to look at here is, again, I'll encourage you to take a look at your chapter 4 material. In chapter 4, you'll see that particularly in like the lecture slides, go to the lecture slides here. How's my streaming? But what you're going to see, zoom in, zoom out just a smidge. These pictures, right? Like, so now you're going to see like different types of tissue. I'm scrolling to like the actual pictures there right here. So this picture here is what you will see. And you may see this in your practical. And so what you'll be asked to identify is what is the name of this tissue, right? So the answer here would be that this is simple squamous epithelium, right? The major tissue group will always be identified, as well as the specific tissue group. So this is simple squamous epithelium, particularly because you can see right here, like that is the simple squamous cell, and so this simple identifies like one layer. Squamous indicates that it is the flat disc-like cell, and so that is simple squamous epithelium. So if you see a picture like this, and again, I'll tell you that most of these questions for the practical will come from pictures that are on your slides, that are right here on the slide. So getting familiar with those different types of tissues. Right here again, this is a different type of simple squamous epithelium. It lines the inside of the arteries and veins. So this is endothelium, but again, for correct full credit, all you would have to say is that it is simple squamous epithelium. Let me see how my mic's doing all right. Let me do maybe one more, and let me try a different tissue type here. I'm going to scroll all the way down. Again, you can see simple cuboidal epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium on this slide. It's skin. Again, stratified cuboidal. You can see these different types of tissues that you'll be asked to identify. Again, right here, pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium. You'll see a picture just like this and be asked to identify where that tissue is. Connective tissue. Let's do connective tissue because that'll be a good one to identify here. So like when you get to connective tissue, things like dense regular connective tissue, if you see a picture like this, right, that's dense regular connective tissue. So again, for full credit, what you want to put is, okay, what is the major group, right? Connective tissue is the major group. What is the number one, the specific type? It's major type, right? So dense regular, you can see, because why is it called dense regular? Because it's got collagen fibers that run in a regular pattern. They all run parallel to each other. You can see kind of like, and so that is dense regular connective tissue. One more. Yeah, let's do one more. Cartilage, right? So this is okay, here we go. This is hyaline cartilage. So now for full credit, what someone would write is hyaline cartilage, comma, connective. Where's the V? There it is. Connective tissue, right? Like that is the full answer that you would put for, right? It is hyaline cartilage. It is connective tissue as well, right? So major category connective tissue. The specific category or the specific type is the hyaline cartilage. And so again, I encourage you guys to take a look at those slides. That's where I will get, I didn't mean to leave the student view, that's where I will get my material as it pertains to the practical questions that will have pictures on them that you'll be asked to identify for this upcoming quiz. It'll have a section all its own, and you'll be asked to take that, and using the lecture slides here, hopefully those tissues could be a part of what you can work on there. And so let's take a look at chapter 5, right? So that chapter 5, chapter 4, we'll put up the slides here and just do a quick review, kind of go over some of the material here. Where's my mouse? It's got to be here somewhere. Let me do this. So again, histology, the big thing that you guys want to know as it relates to histology are going to be this, right? So the 4 major types of tissues, right? So you have epithelium, you have connective tissue, you have muscle tissue, and you have nervous tissue. So, as it relates to epithelium, there are 4 types of tissues that you're going to be asked to identify: simple squamous. So, again, what's the function? Maybe we even talk about the function. It lines the inside / outside of the body, right? Function. Maybe that is like the location. Let's do it that way. Because its function is filtration. Let's do absorption, secretion, and protection, like your skin, right? Location. And so the types that you're going to need to know, so could be classified on its so now we got the types of tissues being that oh, let me go back there it is. Going to be the types that you want to know are simple squamous, simple cuboidal, simple columnar, and stratified squamous. So what do you want to know? Basically, what is the location? Like, where do we find this? And what is the function? Right? For each of those. Next is connective tissue, right? We can identify connective tissue with its function to protect. Thinking about bones. Another one might be to hold the body together. And finally, connective tissue is responsible for transportation. So I'm thinking about like blood and lymph, right? Transporting fluids. Location. It's often deep to epithelial tissue. So if epithelial tissue lines the inside and outside of the body, we have connective tissue that's deep to that. And pretty much all over, right? So the big ones that you'll have to know in terms of connective tissue, I'll kind of write it down here, are going to be bone, cartilage. There are 3 types of cartilage: hyaline, fibro cartilage, and elastic. There's also blood, dense, regular, and irregular. CT, connective tissue, just abbreviated. There's also adipose and areolar type of tissue, right? Muscle, again, its function I think of as movement. Its location, again, kind of all over the body, but you've got three types of muscle. So you've got skeletal, let's do it this way, skeletal muscles, which are kind of like I.E. biceps, right? The types of muscles that are responsible for movement. You have smooth muscle, or let me do this one, cardiac muscle. Which is your heart, right? And then finally, we have the smooth muscle tissue. So these are visceral organs. They're involuntary. They're in your visceral organs, let's just say that way. They are responsible for moving fluid, right? So, like, they're i.e. digestive tract. And they term is peristalsis, right? The ability for the rhythmic contraction and relaxing of the smooth muscle tissues around the digestive tract, and the stomach is responsible for the movement of the, and that's called peristalsis. So three types of muscle tissue: skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle tissue. You'll be asked to identify each of those. And then finally, oh, jumped on it here. Keep clicking on that screen, I don't mean to. The idea here that there are neurons and neuroglia. We'll get more specific as the chapter as we get into the semester, but again, the idea that there are neurons and neuroglia, and that the neurons are the functional group. They're the functional cell of the nervous tissue, and their responsibility is to, send signals. And then the parts of a neuron, right? So being familiar with the parts of a neuron, let's just and that would be the dendrites, the axon, and the cell body, or the soma. And so that's chapter 4, right? Like, that's the big thing we want to take away from chapter 4. Again, look at the lectures. There's a lot of material there that'll help you move along through that chapter. And in the next section, we'll be looking at the integumentary system. So we'll continue on with the integumentary system, and we'll talk a little bit about kind of the stratified squamous epithelium that makes up the epidermis, the connective tissue that makes up the dermis, and the adipose tissue that makes up the hypodermis. And we'll get to identify those different types of tissues on slides. So I look forward to that. But for now, again, we're going to focus on chapter 4 this week. You've got also an assignment online, as well as my students have their in-person assignments as well, but this assignment here again is going to focus on histology as well there. And so you guys are doing great. I encourage you guys to keep up the hard work as we move along into the semester. Take care. I always encourage to see all your guys' hard work and your responses in the tests and assignments here. So, again, take care, stay safe, and look forward to your responses continue as you continue to progress through the semester.